Hello. 1, 2, 3.
Hello, hello, mic check. One, two, three. Hello, 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 mic check. Hello, 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 mic check. One, two, three. Hello, hello.
Honorable Consul General of the Kingdom of Netherlands, Director General of Shipping, Joint Secretary, Inland Waterways, Transport Administration and Coordination, Chairman and Managing Director, Shipping Corporation of India, members of the NMDC Central and Organizing Committee, senior dignitaries, major stakeholders, members of the maritime fraternity, seafarers and cadets, ships who've joined online from across the globe, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the celebration of the World Maritime Day 2023 and the third Roadshow Global Maritime India Summit, GMIS 2023, held jointly by the Directorate General of Shipping, Shipping Corporation of India, and the National Maritime Day Celebrations Central Committee. I'm Dr. Soma Tandon from SCI, and I'll be taking you on this expedition of celebration through this day. As is the tradition, we shall begin with lighting the lamp and invoking the blessing of the deities. Let us bow to knowledge, which is the greatest wealth in our lives, by lighting the traditional lamp. I invite the Consul General, Mr. Bart de Jong, Mr. Sham Jagannath, IS Director General of Shipping, CMD SCI, Mr. Lakshmanan, Joint Secretary, Inland Waterways Transport, Mr. Atul Ubale, Mr. Vijay Arora, Dr. Rajneesh Kumar, and Dr. Pandurang Rao to please come up and light the lamp. Thank you very much, gentlemen. And as the first part of the program has several videos and presentations followed by a panel discussion, we request our dignitaries to please occupy the reserved seats in the front row to enjoy the function better. Captain B.K. Tyagi, Chairman and Managing Director of the Shipping Corporation of India, who's also the Vice Chairman in NMDC Central Committee, has been a man of action, and not only does his work in SCI speak for itself, but we need to especially mention how actively he has participated in curating this event. His passion towards making this event successful was evident by the way he was always available for any assistance required. I'd like to invite Captain B.K. Tyagi to please deliver the welcome address for GMIS 2023 and World Maritime Day 2023.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Our respected Sri Shyam Jagannathan ji, IS Director General of Shipping and Chairman NMDC Central Committee, and he is presiding today's event. Then respected Mr. Brad de Jong, Consulate General of Kingdom of the Netherlands, Respected Sri Lakshmanji, who is available with us in this building, he'll be joining us very shortly. All the dignitaries who are physically present in this hall, and many dignitaries they have joined virtually today with this event. All the distinguished guests assembled in this auditorium, connected virtually, officers from the DGS SCI, ministry, various organizations, institutions like INSA, FOSMA, MASA, ICSA, MUI, NUSI, Institute of Marine Engineers, CMMI, and above all the seafarers who are connected with us virtually or physically, members of the press and media, and all who have joined further. Again, many seafarers have joined today with us with this hall virtually, and nearly there are 35 vessels which are currently connected with us. A very warm welcome to all of you. It is a great pleasure and honor that I stand before you today on this momentous occasion of World Maritime Day 2023, which is being celebrated under the banner of IMO's theme, MARPOL at 50, and our commitment goes on. The marine environment is of prime importance to the entire population of the world. We should remember that oceans occupy about nearly 70% of our surface, and thus the maritime environment is of utmost importance to all of us. In many natural phenomena, this maritime environment is the key, and it is thus important that we adopt sustainable practice for protecting our marine environment. The maritime industry plays a pivotal role in global trade, connecting nations and facilitating the exchange of goods and commodities. While carrying out the trade, it is our profound responsibility to minimize environmental damage and preserve the oceans that sustain us. The International Convention for the Prevention of Pollution from Ships, what we call MARPOL, all we know, this convention was adopted in 1973, finally one protocol, 1978, and then MARPOL in current form 73-78 is in force. We know this MARPOL was the result of one of the marine disasters, which took place in 1967, major oil pollution, and this MARPOL was rewritten. With the time, 1983, this was adopted first. There are total 6 annexes to this, and this covers all the aspects of the marine pollution which are possible as operational or even in case of accident from the ships. One of the major significant contribution of the MARPOL has been, earlier we had vessels, single hull vessels. And with the time, as a maritime industry, we learned, and then finally this design was converted to the double hull. And after that, this accidental pollutions have reduced drastically. I think there are very few, even if some grounding is there, collision is there, this double hull concept has saved the marine environment to the great extent. There are 4 major pillars of the IMO conventions: SOLAS, STCW, MLC, and the 4th one is MARPOL. As I mentioned, there are total 6 annexes, and it covers all the aspects right from the design and operation point of view. MARPOL comes in picture even at the design of the vessels. Vessels are designed in such a way so that there is a minimum possible pollutions right from the deck. There are various equipments on the ships, and then in case of any pollution, there are various contingency measures like simply this soap up is there, and there are other plans in the place. Basic principle of MARPOL has been the safe navigation and sustainable conservative means of protecting our marine environment. This has been the theme. Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, MARPOL has kept this as the basic principle. SDGs 13 and 14, they are inbuilt in our MARPOL. MARPOL has developed over the years, and with the progress of time, Various amendments have been done, and with the progress of technology, various rules, regulations have been added. And after 50 years of the progress, we can see a mature MARPOL, and this is one of the biggest critical tools in hands of the regulator also, and as a ship operator and the seafarer also. This convention and this MARPOL rules and regulation, whatever are available in 6 annexes, this has really served the purpose, and it has definitely protected the marine environment, right from the operations also, and from the point of view of the in case of any accidents also. So this is the time basically now to review our reaffirm our commitment for upholding the practices of principles of MARPOL, to innovate and to forge new solutions that align with the evolving challenges of our time. Now onwards, 1 decade, 2 decades, 3 decades, it's time to see with the technology, as the technology moves, ship design will change, new challenges will come, and with the new challenges, many risks will be added, and the tool or convention like MARPOL, definitely this will help as a maritime industry, but the overall objective is to preserve our maritime environment for the next generations to come. Ladies and gentlemen, now today we will have the panelists. So there are 4 eminent panelists today, and there will be a panel discussions. You will see in due course of time now during this event. I also take this platform as an opportunity for the Global Maritime India Summit, which is planned 17th, 18th, 19th of October. Earlier, this event was scheduled in Delhi, but now luckily it has moved to Mumbai, which is the maritime capital of Indian shipping, if I say so. So most of our industry partners who were supposed to move from Bombay to Delhi, Government of India decided let's move Delhi to Mumbai. So let's take this opportunity, and I urge all of you, please participate actively in this, and let's make this GMS as a grand show. This is not going to limit to Indian waters or Indian boundaries. There will be many countries who are going to be associated, and we have already got the representative with us. And all coastal states will be very actively participating. Maharashtra state is already nominated as a host state. Director General of Shipping, Shipping Corporation of India, Jawaharlal Nehru Port, Mumbai Port, and all the associations, organizations, they all are already actively participating, and we all are gearing up, preparing for this mega event. So ladies and gentlemen, in the event, I would like to once again welcome you to this SCI, this NMDC function, and this roadshow. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for giving us a glimpse of the entire program. The Ministry of Ports, Shipping and Waterways, Government of India, is organizing the 3rd edition of the Global Maritime India Summit 2023 from the 17th to the 19th of October 2023 at the MMRDA grounds, Bandra Kurla Complex, Mumbai, to get all the maritime stakeholders to share a platform. We have a detailed video on the various issues related to GMIS 2023. Please play the video.
A lighthouse of hope, a beacon of innovation, a port of progress. India's maritime sector, navigating the path to prosperity, has been a booming hub of growth and opportunities. The potential it holds is wider than the shores and deeper than the ocean. India's maritime sector has been a thriving hub of private investment for the past 25 years, driving growth and innovation. With liberal FDI norms, wide geography of free trade agreements, bilateral and multilateral treaties, and enabling acts and schemes, the focus is on global collaboration. In the recent years, numerous investors have made significant investments and collaborations in India's maritime sector, spanning across various areas. Additionally, Indian maritime investors are exploring global opportunities to diversify businesses.
बीते 6-7 साल में पोर्ट डेवलपमेंट और पोर्ट लेड डेवलपमेंट को लेकर जो काम हो रहा है उससे देश को नई ताकत मिल रही है.
Already, the Sagarmala program is revolutionizing port-led developments through national and international collaborations. The Sagar Setu, National Logistics Portal Marine, has created an ecosystem for ease of doing business through seamless integration. India is spearheading advancement of regional trade and transit in BIMSTEC region. India is also driving establishment of 5,000 kilometers of multi-country Eastern Waterways network for economic rejuvenation and providing gateway to international North-South transport corridor through Chabahar Port. Beyond the trade and cargo, India's cruise industry has been growing at over 35% with various government initiatives to make India a key maritime tourism destination. Further, the maritime sector will provide investment avenues to drive sustainability with focus on carbon neutral ports, hydrogen hubs and green ships in Indian shipyards. These initiatives will open up waves of maritime in the coming decades. With the legacy of Maritime India Summits in 2016 and 2021, which paved the way for transformative collaborations and advancements, India is all set for the third edition of Global Maritime India Summit 2023. Whether you're an investor, a technology provider, or a maritime professional, you can connect, collaborate, and create for greater growth. A platform where nations unite, opportunities abound, and the future of maritime sector takes the center stage. Join us at the Global Maritime India Summit 2023.
Ministry of Ayush. Will you please play the video of the Honorable Minister?
Namaskar. Under the dynamic leadership of Honorable Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi ji, India today stands as the driving force that will script the next chapter of maritime history in South Asia. This roadshow is a testimony to our deep-rooted cultural connection and our collective ambition to make the nation's grand vision a reality. The Global Maritime India Summit 2023 is stated to be held from 17 to 19 October under the aegis of the Ministry of Ports, Shipping and Waterways at MMRDA Grounds, Mumbai. Under the visionary leadership of our Honorable Prime Minister, Sri Narendra Modi ji, India's maritime capabilities will continue to grow with the mantra of cooperative federalism that is based on strong central state collaboration. GMIS 2023 will further act as a significant global initiative to boost the Indian maritime economy by fostering both global and regional partnership while facilitating investment. This flagship event provides a strategic convergence platform for the Indian and international maritime communities. GMIS 2023 brings together a diverse array of global maritime stakeholders, policymakers, regulators, and industry leaders through a series of interactive exchanges. The platform provides an exciting opportunity to brainstorm and resolve the pertinent issue of maritime infrastructure. GMIS would also enable exchange of innovative ideas for the sector's speedy growth. The upcoming GMIS 2023 and ongoing initiative will showcase India's maritime prospect. It will present a forum of leveraging such investment opportunities for businesses and trade venture within the ports and maritime sector. I warmly welcome all stakeholders in the maritime sector, both local and global, to use this event as a platform to present their investment prospect to fully unlock the maritime potential of this region. For centuries, Indian ports have attracted and served global traders from across the world to achieve our goal of Make in India and Make for the World. India's maritime progress to facilitate seamless global supply chain will play a major role in enhancing the flow of goods and fostering robust economic collaboration. There is an ocean of opportunities ahead of us in the global maritime sector, and working together in the spirit of Team India, we are bound to achieve resounding success. Dhanyavad, Jai Hind. Namaskar.
Now I request Mr. Ash Mohammed, Deputy Director General of Shipping, Mumbai, to give a detailed presentation on our readiness and expected steps for making the GMIS 2023 as a historic event in the maritime world. Please start the presentation.
Respected Director General of Shipping, His Excellency the Consulate General of Netherlands, CMD SCI, Joint Secretary from Ministry of Port, Shipping, Waterways, all the dignitaries, esteemed seafarers. We have a short presentation on Global Maritime Media Summit, which is a standard PPT we are showing everywhere in every roadshow. So because most of the people in this roadshow are new, so we'll make this PPT so that we are aware that what we are going to have in this coming summit. Next slide, please. Sir, if we see the overview of Indian maritime sector, we have 12 major ports, which are largely in the public sector and Government of India controls them. We have 200 non-major ports, which are across under the 9 coastal states and the union territories. And we have 2,605 MTPA capacity as far as these all total ports are concerned. We have 203 lighthouses. Lighthouses are also spread in all the coastal states and within the deep sea also. There are 75 lighthouses which are being developed in public partnership mode to make them a tourist destination. And over 10 lakh tourists have visited the Indian maritime area or Indian shipping facilities in the tourist spots, which include lighthouse also in last 10 years. As far as shipbuilding is concerned, we have 28 shipyards, both in public and private sector. And we have around 1,400 billion GRT ship carrying capacity. We have around 1,530 ships under our flag, both on coastal and foreign going trade. We have 2.5 active seafarer, 2.5 lakh active seafarer. The actual number of seafarers is more than 6 lakhs, but the active average which we have taken from our e-governance system, around 2.5 lakh seafarers are active in a particular year. As far as ship recycling concerned, we are number 2 in the world, and around 30% of total ship recycling volume is handled in our shipyard, mainly in Alang, Gujarat. We have 111 national waterways, and 2 years back we have passed National Waterways Act also. Out of these national waterways, 23 are already operational, and rest are being discussed and modernized to make them operational. Cargo, as far as the inland waterways is concerned, we have 38% growth in last few years. Next slide, please. If we compare the progress what we have made in last 1 decade, there are few 5-6 points which I would like to highlight. We have more than 100% increase in major port capacity. Earlier it was 800 MTPA and now it is 1617 approximately MTPA capacity. So it is more than 100 capacity what we have increased to our major ports. As far as cargo handled by national waterways is concerned, there is a tremendous growth, 1734%, means around 2000% growth, because we have doubled our national waterways also. As far as increase in value of PPP project, which we are taking in all the major ports, there is 150% growth in all the PP projects. Ship recycling, 30% growth. Earlier it was 10 kgrt, now it is around 14 kgrt. Increase in annual cruise passenger. We have, I would like to, in this forum, I would like to mention that we have relaxed the licensing requirement for the foreign cruise vessels which are directly visiting our ports. There is no requirement to take license from DG Shipping. So this step has increased the cruise tourism to 262%. They freely can come. Increase in Indian seafarer 121%. We are third, and our target in 2030 that we will be 20% of the world seafarer. Now it is 12 to 13%, but our target is to reach to 20%. As far as green shipping is concerned, at our port, we have 1300% increase in solar power capacity. It means our ports are becoming more greener. Not only the ship, the ports facilities, the port infrastructure will be using the solar power. Lighthouse tourism, we have seen a 136% increase in the tourist footfall. Earlier, the lighthouse were only being used for the navigational purpose for the ship, but now they are being developed for the tourism also. Next slide, please. If we see our competitiveness at global level, then we are at number 2 in Indian ports. Number 2 ports are in the top 40 ports, that is JNPT, which is a government sector port, and another is Mundra port, which is a private sector port. These 2 ports are in top 40 ports in the world. As far as trained manpower, we are 5th, and I told you that in 2030 our target is to become 20%. Now we are 12% as far as skill of the trained seafarer is concerned. We are 2nd in global ship recycling, and I would like to mention that though the convention will come into force in 2025, most of the shipyard in Alang are convention compliant. Most of that, around 90% of our shipyard are convention compliant. So foreign ship can come to our shipyard to get the ship breaking facilities. As far as logistic performance index is concerned, the latest 2023 trends are out, and we are 38th in this logistics performance index. Next slide, please. As far as transformative reforms or steps which we have taken in last 10 years, the Sagarmala program, which was launched in 2016 during the first Maritime India Summit. Then digitization of the operational process, that is NLP Marine, which we have seen in the video now, PCX1 also. Then there is a Jalmarg Vikas project for augmentation of national waterways number 1. For investment, we have revised the model concession agreement in all the ports. That is completely revised. Now model concession agreement is available in the new form, and all the people who want to invest, they can approach the ports for the PPP projects. Then tariff guidelines have also been revised. Then priority for Indian built vessel, I would like to say that in 2020, Ministry has issued a notification intending that Indian built vessels should get the first preference. Based on that notification, the Director General of Shipping in January 2021 had issued a policy circular in which Indian built vessels are given number 1 priority in right of first refusal. Then we have shipbuilding financial assistance scheme, and this was started in 2016 and it is up to 2026. As far as legislative reform is concerned, we have passed 3 legislative acts: Major Port Authorities Act, Now all the major port trusts now become major port authorities, and that is already implemented. Marine Aids to Navigation Act, which was earlier Lighthouse Act, that is also enacted anew. It was very old act of 1927, but now 2021 it has come. Inland Vessels Act of 2021, it has replaced 1917 Act. It was very old act. Now Inland Vessels also we have a new act. These are the three. Merchant Shipping Act, you may be knowing, that is already under review. Coastal Shipping Act is already under review. Both are at advanced stage. Next slide, please. Then what we expect if there is a discussion or there are various sessions, there are various presentation, CO forum, and a lot of things in the upcoming Maritime India Summit, but then what should we accept? Indian maritime sector, what we expect in next decades, we want to convert to the 4 times port capacity. Our intention is that our port capacity should be 4 times what we have now. Then as far as fuels is concerned, we should be using more hydrogen and alternate fuels, and we should become hub of use of these fuels in our shipping sector as far as all over the world is concerned. Then cruise passenger also, we should be the leader. It should be 10 times. Our intention is to increase the passenger tourism 10 times, and now foreign flag vessels, cruise vessels are visiting Indian ports. There is a disturbance due to pandemic, but now it is again picking up. The foreign cruise ships are coming. Then we want to be a top destination for the ship recycling and ship repair. We are number 2. Our around 35% of the total recycling is done in our country. We want to increase it. Then ship repair also, we have 28 shipyard, and we want to be leader. In shipbuilding, our share is minuscule. We have just 1% share. So our intention is to increase the capacity of our shipyard, and we should be growing in the shipbuilding also. Then as far as coastal shipping through the waterways is concerned, we want that 12% modal share should be to the shipping only. Instead of roll and raid, it should be to the shipping only. Next slide, please. Then something about this summit, sir. I will come. Next slide. If we see 2016 summit, which was held in Mumbai and was inaugurated by the Honorable Prime Minister in that convention ground in Goregaon. 5,000 delegates and 40 nations participated. 240 investment opportunities were generated out of that summit, and 140 MOUs were signed. Then again in digital form, we held our second Maritime India Summit in 2021. Then 20,000 delegates, 400 investment opportunity, and 475 MOUs were signed. And these MOUs are now actually liquidating, and the amount has reached up to the 2 lakh crore. So it is not that only we are just signing the MOU, we have to implement, and we have to show the actual result is flowing in the Indian economy. Next slide, please. Now, GMIS 2023, which has now been shifted to Mumbai from New Delhi. There will be various sessions, which include the country session, the thematic sessions, breakout sessions, plenary sessions, estate session with the coastal estates, then international exhibition. There will be exhibition from a lot of companies. We will have some 4 or 5 big pandals. Then Maritime Excellence Award, the last date was 15 September. Now jury has been already constituted, and some good people and organization from the industry will get the Maritime Excellence Award. There will be a CEO forum where all the international and national CEOs can sit together, and the Honorable Minister will chair this session and they can discuss. So this will open investment opportunities, government to business, business to business meetings, international collaboration, domestic collaborations, collaboration between different kind of stakeholder, different kind of ventures, policy discussions, various agreements, MOUs, networking, innovation, development of technology, transfer of technology, learning from each other, and tapping to the skill workforce. So these are some opportunities which we will have. Next slide, please. Maritime excellence, sir, I already told you these are the broad categories, but the date is already over. 15 September was the last date, and a lot of nomination have been received, and now jury will decide. So, and this will be awarded on the during the Maritime India Summit, first day, first in the end of the first day. Next slide, please. Then, sir, these are the focus areas, some focus area of the ports of the future means what should be the future port, what kind of technology, what kind of innovation, what kind of cargo handling the port should use. Then decarbonization of shipping. IMO has already issued the new revised guideline for the green shipping, and what the summit should deliberate, how it should be actually implemented, and what kind of technology transfer can be there, what kind of collaboration can be there, what kind of cooperation is required from the ship owner, what kind of collaboration is required from the administration. Then coastal shipping and inland waterways. I already mentioned that our intention is that 12% modal shift should be to the waterways as far as coastal movement is concerned. Then shipbuilding and ship repair and ship recycling. Ship recycling, we are already having a good share in international market, but shipbuilding, we have to increase our presence. Then finance, insurance, and arbitration. This is also one of the new area which should get focus, because no activity can be successful if we have good financial and dispute resolution mechanism. So finance, insurance, and arbitration. Arbitration is one of the alternate mechanism to resolve the dispute. So there will be a session on this. Then maritime clusters. The maritime cluster means the various entities can come together in some particular area and provide some facilities at one common place. Then innovation and technology. Some big group company leaders will be discussing what kind of innovation is required in the shipping sector and what kind of technology collaboration or the transfer may be required. Then maritime safety security, we will have a special one full-fledged session in which we will have international and national speakers. And what we have to explore here is that maritime safety and security, how this session can be used for exploration of business opportunities. Maritime safety security, as far as defense point of view, is one side, and another side is how it can generate the opportunities. So the discussion will focus on both the aspects. Then tourism. Tourism, sir, I have already mentioned that we have relaxed the cabotage for the foreign flag vessel. So our intention is to develop the maritime tourism. So my request is that all should take part, all should register. We should visit the website and there is a registration and you can choose multiple sessions in registration. Abhi road show hone ke baad mein bhi sir registration number are not increasing. So my request that all of you should encourage your people in your companies to register. Yesterday, I think MSC has registered, sir, 140 people. At senior level also, all the senior functionaries, all the middle level functionaries. So what I require, that diversified presence should be there in all the year. So please register for more than one session and please take part. Come up for the stall and exhibition also. Any request for the exhibition, we are approaching to our stakeholder, but you can write to DG Shipping to me on email, sir. We will respond to you. We'll get you connected with Vicky, who is our logistic partner. So my request is that please participate fully, not only academically, but also financially, and all exhibition, stall, you can exhibit yourself, you can express yourself in the forum that we are your presence can be felt if you have some stall or some exhibition there. Sir, at last, I will just say, conclude, I will say 4 lines. Madam was saying कि कुछ 4 लाइन बोल दीजिएगा. G20 में कमाल किया है और GMIS में भी कमाल करेंगे. G20 में कमाल किया है, GMIS में भी कमाल करेंगे. भारत का हमने नाम किया है, भारत का फिर नाम करेंगे. GMIS को सफल बनाकर शिपिंग का उद्धार करेंगे. थैंक यू. प्लीज पार्टिसिपेट.
Thank you very much, sir. And that was all about GMIS 2023. So now we come to the World Maritime Day 2023. The World Maritime Day is observed to recognize the contribution of people engaged in the maritime industry. It also aims to draw public attention towards various issues related to the industry, such as shipping, marine trade, and environmental causes, amongst others. Every year on the occasion of the World Maritime Day, a message is given by the Secretary General IMO. We begin with the message of Mr. Kitak Lim, Secretary General IMO. Please play the message.
Today, shipping delivers over 80% of the world trade and it carries millions of passengers to destinations across the globe. Maritime transport continues to be the safest and most energy-efficient mode of transport. Shipping is a crucial part of the global supply chain. This is a certainty even in uncertain times. The International Maritime Organization, IMO, is fulfilling its role as the global regulator for shipping, ensuring that the maritime sector delivers cargo safely and environmentally sustainable manner. An environmentally sound shipping sector started over 50 years ago. At the time, the world recognized the need to protect our planet, and in particular, the maritime environment from all sources of pollution. A number of maritime pollution incidents were a strong catalyst for action. Against this background, IMO decided to adopt a treaty to prevent pollution from ships into the marine environment. The International Convention for the Prevention of Pollution from Ships, or MARPOL. Over the time, the IMO member states expanded MARPOL's coverage starting from accidental and operational oil spill from tankers to prevention of pollution from chemicals carried in bulk, packaged dangerous goods, sewage and garbage, and ultimately the prevention of air pollution from ships. This year, we celebrate the 50th anniversary of this landmark environmental treaty. To mark this special occasion, our World Maritime theme for 2023 is MARPOL at the 50. Our commitment goes on. Through these decades, MARPOL has consequently advanced to keep up with the lessons learned and new demands, such as the imperative to tackle climate change and to accommodate new technologies. Its rules are continuously upgraded as we look to a sustainable future and enhance the protection of our planet and oceans. MARPOL has had a positive impact on the marine environment. It has changed how ships like this one are designed and operated. The number of oil spills fell by over 90% through the last 50 years due to this and other targeted interventions. Thanks to MARPOL, the discharge of plastic garbage into the sea is banned, and operational waste such as garbage and sewage cannot simply be disposed of at the sea and are very strictly regulated. Air pollution rules have also immensely cut sulfur oxide emissions from ships. The latest efforts focus on driving the decarbonization of shipping, supporting the global fight against climate change. Of course, there is still more work to do. As we mark 50 years of MARPOL, I invite all stakeholders to promote further dialogue on the next phase of IMO's work to enhance sustainable shipping and protect our planet and oceans. Shipping is evolving. Shipping must embrace decarbonization, digitalization, and innovative technology, including automation, while ensuring the human element is kept front and the center of the technological and the green transition to ensure a sustainable planet for future generations. MARPOL has made a difference to shipping and to the health of our ocean and will continue to do so as we look ahead to the next 50 years.
That was an excellent message. And we also have the goodwill video message for World Maritime Day 2023 from Mr. Sarbananda Sonowal, Honorable Union Cabinet Minister, Ministry of Ports, Shipping and Waterways, and Ministry of Ayush. Please play the video message of the Honorable Minister.
To know that the World Maritime Day is being celebrated this year in India on 29th September. The theme for this year's celebration is MARPOL at 50. our commitment goes on. MARPOL is the main international convention for prevention of pollution of marine environment by ship. It reflects the organization's long history of protecting environment from the impact of shipping. This year, we are celebrating 50th anniversary of this landmark environmental treaty. India is a party to MARPOL, and we have enshrined the convention in our Martian Shipping Act 1958. As per IMO, India is among the top 10 countries with the largest interest in international seaborne trade. MARPOL has helped in curbing the menace of not only oil pollution, but also pollution in form of chemicals, garbage, sewage, dangerous goods, and air pollutant. Oceans are now facing threat from marine litters, underwater noise, acidification, and overfishing, etc. We have taken number of steps to combat these new sources of marine pollution. We have prohibited use and carriages of single-use plastic way back in 2019. In order to curb underwater noise, we are actively participating in the Glow Noise project jointly developed by IMO and AMP, UNEP. Maritime India Vision 2030 has identified multiple proactive measures to curb marine pollution. India has launched online facility named Swaswagar for implementation and monitoring of maritime environmental regulation on port reception facilities, ballast water management, bunker supplier information system, including e-bunker delivery note, fuel consumption, reportings, and single-use plastic. This vision has further translated into an action plan in form of Harit Sagar Green Port Guidelines and Green Talk Transition Program. We are confident that the advent of modern technologies will bring about major improvement in the maritime ecosystems and help us to progress towards greener shipping at a faster pace. I am also very glad to inform that we will be celebrating Global Maritime India Summit 2023 at Bandra Kurla Complex in Mumbai from 17 to 19 October 2023 with theme as Connect, Collaborate, and Create. I request all the stakeholders in maritime industry to come forward and join in our journey of showcasing India's significant stride towards development of maritime industry. I extend my warm greetings and best wishes to seafarers and to all the stakeholders engaged in maritime field. I also hereby convey my heartfelt congratulations to NMDC committee to make this event as a grand success.
The International Maritime Organization has set the theme for the World Maritime Day 2023 as MARPOL at 50, our commitment goes on. The theme spotlights the International Convention for the Prevention of Pollution from Ships, which covers prevention of pollution of the marine environment by ships from operational or accidental causes. We now have a panel discussion on the theme. The panelists represent various stakeholders of the industry. Chairing the panel discussion is Mr. Vijay Arora, Managing Director, Indian Register of Shipping. I request Mr. Vijay Arora to please come up on the dais. He's also the chairman of the IACS Safety Panel and General Policy Group, and has also participated in various IMO committees. We have eminent panelists from different parts of the maritime world and scientific background. I invite Dr. Rajneesh, professor from IIT Madras, and he's a recipient of various awards. Captain Tushar Pradhan, General Secretary, Maritime Union of India, the fourth generation seafarer with an experience of 45 years. And Mr. Mudit Mehrotra, Assistant Vice President, Shipping Division, Great Eastern Shipping Company Limited. He's also a part of the Indian Government Shadow Committee for IMO MEPC. Mr. CPK Kashyap, Executive Director, Sanmar Shipping, was to join, but he has expressed his inability due to some urgent work. So handing over the mic to you, Mr. Arora.
Good evening to all dignitaries, good evening to seafarers and all those who are attending from the screen. Good evening to all of you, please. Today, while Captain Tyagi has made a small brief on how the MARPOL came into force, I will add a little so that before we go for the panel discussion. The convention has evolved through the years, through the requirements of, we can see that we had 100 ppm separators when we joined shipping. It came to 15 ppm separators, then phasing out of single hull tankers to double hull tankers for more safety, establishment of special areas which ensured that we have those areas more secured. The introduction of member state audit scheme, by which all the MARPOL annexes and all the administrations are getting audited. Introduction of 2020 sulfur limit, basically that also has controlled the sulfur in the fuel, and emissions have been controlled. And now the adoption of technical and operation measures to enhance the energy efficiency of ships. Finally, we can also talk about the 2018, the IMO strategy, which was adopted in 2018, which set targets of reduction for CO2 and GHG emissions. This GHG strategy has been recently revised, and the revised emission targets have been set, which we need to go through that basically. So MARPOL at 50, our commitment goes on, had been selected as a international IMO 2023 World Maritime theme to enable celebrate as a World Maritime Day. It is absolutely very correct. And we need to look in the past what we did, where we are going with the new fuels. Definitely the previous MARPOL annexes will play an important role, but the new fuels will also be again impacting them, and we have to review those MARPOL annexes possibly so that we can carry the fuels again basically. And while we celebrate this theme 2023 allows us to celebrate this legacy, it will allow us to build further foundation as to how we go across in future basically. Today, we work on the greenhouse gas emissions, and it is critical. And given the urgency of climate crisis, we need to strengthen our ambitions on this matter, and we need to act now. There are many issues which need to be tackled, such as protecting biodiversity, biofouling, transfers of invasive species, handling of plastic waste, noise pollution. So there are a lot of issues which are in hand, which we need to take while we are talking about the alternate fuels and the zero emission fuels, basically to go and achieve net zero basically. We need to also talk about something which is very essential while we are talking about technologies, alternate fuels. We need to talk about how we are going to prepare our seafarers. Seafarers today to attract to this profession is a challenge. So how we are working on that, how we are making sure that under the new fuels, which are, we say risk as more, how do we attract them basically? That is also very important, which we need to start focusing so that we can attract them, train them and use them while we are looking for target to increase our percentage share in the seafarer market basically. So protecting the marine environment is very important in the next 50 years, making sure we are preparing ourselves for 50 years. So we need to discuss this issue, and that is how our panel is there basically. I have my panelist. Mr. Rajneesh Kumar, he is a professor from IIT and he is PhD in chemical and biological engineering. With his vast experience, especially on, he will give us emphasize how we can reduce CO2 or how we can use CO2. Basically, he should be able to give us some insight on that. We have Shri Mudit Mehrotra with us. He is a marine engineer from DMET, Calcutta. He joined, I think he passed out in 1988 and he joined Great Eastern Shipping Company in 1998. And presently he's working as Assistant Vice President in Shipping Division of Great Eastern Shipping Company. And additionally, he's a part of IMO MEPC, the Shadow Committee of Government of India, basically. We have Captain Tushar Pradhan. He is the General Secretary of the Maritime Union of India. And Captain Pradhan has served in shipping companies like Scindia, Volume Ship Management, and he has been in command for the last 27 years with total experience of almost 45 years, basically. Under this dynamic leadership, MUI is working on to improve all existing facilities and supporting the seafarers, especially addressing their grievances and all related to wages, abandonment, and many other issues as defined in MLC convention. He assures all the seafarers who are present there, they can listen to his desire. He assures all seafarers and their families about ease of access to him 24/7 to communicate about all the issues requiring guidance and intervention of the union in order to ensure justice of all seafarers. That is what is there. We had another panelist with us, Mr. Kashyap. He was also from the owner's representative, but he is not able to come. So I think Mudit will be able to add value to that, basically. I can be, no problem. I think then I'll be. I'll use the mic now. I can use this mic. Yeah, we have the topic very clear to us, and I will ask Mr. Tushar as to how did the seafarers operate vessels prior to the implementation of MAPOL, basically.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, sir, DG sir, and Council from General Counsel from Netherlands, CMD from SCI, Mr. Captain Tyagi. Thank you for giving this opportunity. Before MAPOL, everything was open to everyone. There were no restrictions. People were very happy to dump what they want. There were no restrictions. We were polluting this universe left, right, and center. Nobody cared. It was all happy-go-lucky family at sea. But sooner or later, things started getting for the worst. But there were definitely some good companies who had ethics, and there were some best practices which they did put in place and ensured that at least the pollution along the coast was not done, and in particular in ports. But there was occasions where we always found oil floating around our vessel. We were also one of them, and we did not bother whether we were throwing any plastic or any garbage or any timber overboard. Even the cargo residues were dumped overboard in port. It is a very sad story, but we are fortunate for IMO and the MAPOL and to this maritime industry who has now taken things up their sleeves and are ensuring that we want a safer earth today, and we are looking after our maritime waters. Thank you.
What challenges are being faced now by the seafarers when the MAPOL is implemented? The convention is strong. People are becoming more aware of the situation. So what problem they are facing now?
The seafarers have now gradually started to adopt and understand the urgency and the importance of pollution. Initially, when MAPOL came in, as very rightly you had mentioned, it was 100 ppm. Then it was later on brought to 15 ppm with the restrictions that you cannot dump anything within 12 nautical miles. So people took time. Initially, they made sure that only the senior engineers, especially the main pollution in those days was considered as oil. And that is why this oily water separator was put in. And people were then, only the senior engineers were operating this. This caused a lot of problems on board because the juniors who subsequently got promoted were not able to handle this OWS, and which led to a lot of pollution and falsifying records in the oil record book. Handing overs were not done properly. But gradually the company started putting in their own best practices, their own training programs. People got educated on board. We had online training, and that made people realize, well, we cannot do these things. The policing was very poor initially, but as the all measures started getting stricter, the industry then woke up, and now we are accepting MARPOL with open arms. Though from Annex 1, we went on to Annex 6, and I think now even your water ballast system is going to be adopted soon. So people started then gradually accepting MARPOL, and now everybody is up on their toes and warmly welcomes MARPOL on board.
I'll come to you, Mudit. As a ship operator, how is compliance with Annex 1 shaping up now? We talked about before, we talked about later, and now so you are a ship owner, you will be able to tell us something. Are there any challenges or issues which is ship owner operator, you could state them, few of them?
Yeah, thanks a lot. I would first like to state that generally it is the best practices followed by the owners or ship owners which get transformed into new regulations. Certain organizations obviously follow those practices, and thereafter everybody embraces them with open arms. MAPOL has evolved over a period of time. There have been initial hiccups, but now it's a very good stepping stone which is used by all of us to go further and try and improve. Minor challenges obviously exist. New resolutions are passed by IMO, and the PSC inspector wants those to be implemented on older ships. So obviously that leads to a certain confrontation or a challenge for the ship owner, who has to speed up implementation of those as the time requires.
But when I see that we have MAPO Annex 1 already there, we are changing over now using different fuels, biofuel is being used. So what challenge you are facing with the existing equipment basically? Are you able to use it, or you are not able to use the existing equipment?
Yeah, that's thanks a lot. It is a lovely pointer because it gives us an opportunity to voice. With biofuel in use, we will obviously be moving from the Annex 1 to another annexes because there is chemical content which is partly going to be part of the fuel. So those challenges are started appearing to us, and we are looking at how to get around it in a manner which is going to make it compliant for all of us. The equipment as of date till B30 does not require of biofuel does not require any change, but thereafter there are discussions on which would require to make some changes to the equipment as the time goes by, or the biofuel content of is increasing with the sustainable element.
Correct. So that means we need to start looking at if in case we want to go from B10, B15, B30 to B100, what is our desire? So we need to do something with the equipment also. So that's what I can see that.
Yeah, thanks.
While we are talking about now MAPO and Annex 5, which deals with the prevention of pollution by garbage from ships, as part of continued commitment to MAPO going past 50, what would you identify as challenge for implementation?
Presently, the challenge would only be the shore reception facility. That comes straight away to mind. Ships wait at anchorages. Owners would like to meet the requirements of MAPOL, but have challenge when in storage of garbage because the shore reception facilities do not exist. You have the food stuff consider there are places where a ship is waiting for 40 days, 50 days, and the food waste, considering especially Indian type of cooking, wherein how do you store it? So we have to find methodologies how to store it in spaces, maybe freeze it. A lot of owners, like especially a lot of shipping companies, have provided deep freezer where instead of storing fresh provisions, we are also storing garbage of food waste, which is to ensure it doesn't pollute the seas.
So we need to do something on the port reception facilities
Yeah.
also with respect to MARPO and extra price, correct? Now coming to MARPO and exercise, which deals with the pollution prevention, this I'm talking about 4 MARPO, sewage from ships, which has been successful in place for many number of years, basically. While it has been discussed now at IMO also further, we are trying to go further into this implementation and modifying the MARPO and extra 4. I'm sure this regulation has its share of challenges in compliance. Can you state some of them?
MARPO Annex 4 has got some challenges, and I think here I would really like to state that India has taken a huge lead in identifying and stating them at IMO. We have been in forefront of working on those regulations at IMO, wherein we have identified that the garbage, the sewage is not allowed to be discharged in a large number of country territorial waters. There are restrictions which are imposed, and the obvious solution for a ship is to start storing it in a ballast tank. With the water ballast system in use and the ballast water convention in place, it is really a challenge for a ship how to use that same space, which is part of the water ballast system, to be used as a sewage tank storage for a short term. So we have been in forefront at IMO trying to get these regulations identified and rectified. There is work in progress. I think we will surely come towards it.
Yes, we need to comply with both the conventions. So that is the challenge.
That's the
So
challenge.
we need to
today.
work upon that also. Coming to Government of India's progress on plastic waste pollution. Can you comment something on that? Where are we today?
I think India was the first country which came in with the requirement wherein we tried to suppress the use of single-use plastic. It has been a great initiative. We have showcased that at IMO, wherein India has been able to show that we are the leaders who have made it possible, and other countries are trying to follow the model which has been identified by India. So that has been a great success. I would say a single-use plastic has really come down. Plastic pollution has been able to be controlled because of all these measures which have come in place. Slight niggles still stay. We are still working at a global level for restriction of plastic waste in seawater.
Annexure 6 is the most important, which is in top today. So how do you feel that we will be able to achieve the set targets in short term?
कहीं ना कहीं पोस्टर हो जाएगी.
I think we look for alternative technologies, alternative solutions, And I think that's where Dr. Rajneesh comes in, because he can suggest something which could help us go further.
So I'll go to Rajneesh then in that case. Rajneesh, can you explain what the typical exhaust gas emissions from shipping, which of these exhausts are detrimental to the environment, basically, so that everybody is aware of what we have to do and how we can do that?
Okay, so the exhaust gases typically comes because you are burning the fossil fuel, and the fossil fuel itself majorly has carbon and hydrogen in it. But then along with carbon and hydrogen, it also has some smaller amount of other chemicals, which creates all the other issues. So carbon, if it does not burn cleanly, it will produce carbon monoxide, which is a poisonous gas. Since we are burning the fuel in air, which has nitrogen as well as oxygen, so we create a lot of NOx. And the fuel itself, if you're talking about diesel, so the fuel itself has some sulfur content, and this brings sulfur dioxide also, or SOx we call it. So this carbon monoxide, SOx and NOx is being captured currently. What is not being captured currently is the carbon dioxide. It's not in a small amount like in SOx and NOx, it's in large amount. This is the major product of the combustion, CO2. The challenge though is that since we are burning the fuel in air, it's not only pure CO2 which comes out, it's the nitrogen which also comes out along with the CO2, and that brings the biggest challenge, because the CO2 concentration in the exhaust gas is much lower. So depending upon where we are looking at, if you're looking at the engine, it creates around 5% CO2 concentrated exhaust. And if you're talking about boiler, it produces around 10 to 15% concentrated CO2 exhaust. Now, if you are not changing the fuel itself, if you are going to stay with the same fuel, even the biofuel will almost give you the similar CO2 concentration. So the challenge here is to capture the CO2. Now, when we talk about capture the CO2, it means it's basically separating the CO2 from the nitrogen, nothing more than that. So you are separating the CO2 from the nitrogen by basically capturing the CO2 as either liquid CO2 or adsorbed CO2 on some material. So basically the material here is very important. The material here has to have, it's more of like a magnet. So if I am looking for a material, if it likes CO2, it will be able to capture the CO2 from the nitrogen, because nitrogen is not supposed to be captured. Nitrogen can go back to the atmosphere. So this material has to be chosen wisely, because if this material likes the CO2, then you'll have to be worried about it, because this material has to be regenerated also, because it's not one-time use. This material has to be generated. Why I'm talking about this, let me give you a small data. So shipping industry today produces 1 billion ton of CO2 every year. This number is 1 billion ton every year. So any material you are going to use to capture 1 billion ton of CO2, 1-to-1 is not possible, because it's not pure CO2 we are talking about. You might need 5 such molecule to capture 1 molecule of CO2. So when we are talking about 1 billion ton of CO2 capture, we are talking about 5 billion ton of this molecule. And then it basically means, obviously, we cannot produce 5 billion ton of this molecule, because every molecule you are trying to produce is going to emit CO2. It's not coming from thin air. So you will have to produce a material, and any material you produce, for example, if you're going to produce cement or you're going to produce steel, every ton of steel produces 3 tons of CO2. So it's important for us to understand that the material which is going to capture the CO2 is not coming from thin air, has to be produced, and it will emit more CO2. So regeneration of this material is very important. So what we have to target is that identify a material which has the correct bonding between CO2 and this material, so that we can regenerate it. If the bonding is too strong, then it will take a lot more energy for you to regenerate that particular material, and that you cannot do on board. So this is the biggest challenge, because you are producing significantly large amount of CO2, you have limited space. And if you are capturing this material, using this material to capture the CO2, you cannot regenerate that material on board. You will have to have the facility to basically deboard that material whenever you are boarding somewhere, and then take the fresh material. So this is the kind of approach which is going to work. So I'm sure it's a complex problem, but I hope I have given you a complete picture what exactly has to be done. So this is only the capture part of it. Now, what you're going to do with the CO2, that's a separate question, which we will wait for you to ask.
How easy or difficult it will be to install carbon capturing on ships, basically?
See, the technology exists. It's not that it's not there. Technology exists, and there are multiple different technologies. For example, many of you would have heard about amine-based processes, which basically amine is nothing but a base chemical. CO2 is an acidic component. So when acid and base reacts together, it forms a salt. So basically, this is how it captures the CO2 from a mixture of CO2 and nitrogen primarily. But the salt which is getting produced can be regenerated only at 150 to 170 degrees. I don't know whether on ship you can do that. So you'll have to basically devote it, and then you have to regenerate this material and ship it back to the ship so that it can again capture the CO2. So this is going to be one challenge. The other method is to basically cryogenically separate the CO2 from nitrogen. Now, CO2 by itself is a very large molecule. So it condenses quite easily, but it's not the CO2 which is a challenge. The challenge is the nitrogen which is present along with the CO2, which is a very small molecule. And if you're going to cool the entire mix of CO2 and nitrogen to condense the CO2, it's not going to be done at -10. It requires -150 or below that. That is where the challenge starts, when you're trying to cryogenically capture the CO2 and make it as a liquid CO2. So this unit will be small, but the energy consumption will be much larger. So you'll have to take a call which one you want to prefer. That's the problem.
So again, I come back to you, Mudit. Under these challenges associated with the emerging technologies, what he has just told you, and various fuels we have talked as a ship owner operator, with suitability, cost for comparatively adaptability, crew staining, and possible fuel solutions, what do you think will be the future basically?
For the existing ships, this is just my personal view, and I would say generally been after discussion with other people. Present existing tonnage would require energy efficiency improvements, operational efficiency improvements. There has to be some modification which will be done to the present existing ships. For newer tonnage, it will be change of technology, maybe change to another alternative fuel, and continuously work with other parts of industry to ensure that we get the right technology mix for the shipping.
Let us wait for the future in that.
Yeah.
And what are the other regulatory regimes that have key challenges outside the MAPOL?
Other regulatory regimes which have challenges for ship operations include Ballast Water Convention, because still it is showing up some issues related to coastal estates, challenging water quality, usage, adaptability of the crew, challenges related to plastics, challenges related to the new regulation. Noise is a big challenge. MAPOL, I would like to state here is that all of us have moved from pollution prevention towards care of environment. We are very much careful of biodiversity. We are looking for an ecological mix which should stay. So those are, and that is where all of us are working towards. Ship owner, ship operators, crew, and the regulatory regime.
So how do you think for the future we are preparing, your companies being preparing for the seafarers to handle such fuels, such technologies? What is the preparation going on now?
We are looking at more and more training, more and more adaptability of people to use it. There are internal checks being installed. We are asking everybody to complete the training regime so that we can meet these present challenges as stated.
But the challenge also lies because we are talking about hydrogen fuel, ammonia fuel, which are scary fuels, I'll say that. So how you will be able to attract the seafarers? What is the change? Are we looking for some change in organization? How the seafarer should be attracted to come on board? How he should be treated so that he is attracted to this profession? Because nowadays we find not many people getting attracted to this profession. So what is that you are looking for changes to happen so that we are able to attract such seafarers?
So I think slowly but surely there is going to be a change in the way we look at shipping. From, as you stated, from 100 ppm. When I started my career, my first ship had 100 ppm incidentally, and today to 15 ppm, and then we are looking at 0% or 0 ppm. Slowly, it is going to be more automated. Slowly, it's going to be a mass code which is coming in. We'll look at self-autonomous ships, wherein the seafarer would find a different opportunity and a different skill set requirement, which is from today. We would have to train them to meet those challenges which you have stated very much clearly. And these fuels are really a challenge. We are making those regulations at the CCC, which is going to submit its report to MSC, wherein the requirement for use of hydrogen and ammonia is the only thing we could do in about 8 days' time. Other fuels we could not even touch. So
So thank you, all of you. Thank you. I'll just try to sum up. There is a lot to do. 50 years we are going to have further. Lot to do. Port reception facility is one of them. Looking at the equipments again, how to see that we can use them, how to see the improved efficiencies, how to handle fuels, how to attract seafarers, how to see that the new regulations which are yet being discussed to come. So we have a lot to do in the next 50 years. Hopefully, with the commitment what we had in the past, we have been improving from 100 to 15. We say 0 also. So we will be able to see that how MARPOL is preventing us from having pollution basically. That's what I can conclude. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen, for giving us macro and micro perspective of the impact of going for a sustainable environment. Request you to please take your seats in the front row. If there are any questions, you can send it to on WhatsApp to 9820000703. I repeat, 9820000703, and we will revert. May I now request Director General of Shipping, Gaurav, could you please change? May I request Director General of Shipping, Mr. Shyam Jagannathan, Chairman and Managing Director, SCI, Captain B.K. Tyagi, Consul General of the Kingdom of Netherlands, Mr. Bart de Jong, to please come on the dais. I request Director General of Shipping, Mr. Shyam Jagannathan, and Chairman NMDC Central Committee to please present a memento and bouquet to Mr. Bart de Jong, Consul General of the Kingdom of the Netherlands. Will you please bring the bouquet and the memento? Come this side, please. Go from behind, please. Come. I request Sri Atul Ubali, Director, Bulk Carrier and Tanker Division of Shipping Corporation of India and the chairperson of the NMDC Organizing Committee to please present a bouquet to Director General of Shipping and Chairman NMDC Central Committee, Mr. Shyam Jagannathan. I request Dr. Pandurang Raut, Deputy Director General of Shipping and Secretary NMDC Central Committee to please present a bouquet of flowers to Captain B.K. Tyagi, Chairman and Managing Director of the Shipping Corporation of India. and the Vice Chairman, NMDC Central Committee. I request Director General of Shipping to please felicitate the panelists. The discussion was very, very insightful. I request Mr. Vijay Arora to please come on the dais. I request Dr. Rajesh Kumar, Professor IIT Madras, to please come up on the dais. I request Captain Tushar Pradhan, General Secretary, Maritime Union of India, to please come up on the dais. And can we have Mr. Mudit Mehrotra on dais? Thank you, gentlemen. We are very fortunate to have with us the Honorable Consul General of the Netherlands in India, Mr. Bart de Jong. He has been Counselor for Infrastructure and Environment, Head of Unit for Maritime Shipping, and Transport Attaché previously. We look forward to hear from him on the issues of MARPOL implementation, best practices in Netherlands, collaboration between India and Netherlands on MARPOL, sustainable development, and the role of MARPOL. I invite Honorable Mr. Bart de Jong to please address the gathering. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Honorable Consul General of the Netherlands in India.
Thank you. Good afternoon to you all. Director General of Shipping, Mr. Jagannathan, Mr. Jaggi, Chairman and Managing Director of the Shipping Corporation of India. It's an honor for me to speak to you today. It was rather unexpected, but when we saw the opportunity arising, I said, yes, it would be an honor for me to be here and to say something about the things that keep us busy today and yesterday, by the way, which is marine pollution. The IMO had the World Maritime Day yesterday, and they declared MARPOL at 50 to be the issue of this year's World Maritime Day. MARPOL at 50 years of MARPOL looks quite something, but basically if you look back in hindsight, you ask, why did it take so long? Because the IMO was already established in 1958. I think even earlier when the United Nations bodies were established. And the Marine Safety Committee was first. The Marine Safety Committee was basically sort of established in the wake of the disaster with the Titanic. That's where the first international consultations started going on maritime safety. And why not on environment? Basically, the thing is, I think that there wasn't any awareness about the environment. As Captain Pradhan just indicated, everything was just thrown overboard. Oil was discharged at sea. I can imagine if you travel around the world and you're at sea for a month, you don't see anything at all but ocean. You think, just a little bit of oil, just a little bit of garbage, throw it overboard. And the result of that, of hundreds of years of just throwing things overboard, we are experiencing every day. Look at the oceans, how polluted they are. Look at the beaches. So it was actually quite apt that IMO started looking at that. The awareness wasn't there, but started coming in the 1960s, maybe. And it took still until 1973, 78, before we had the first MARPOL convention. And then still, why did it take so long to have all these specific regulations on the MARPOL? As you all know, probably, MARPOL has various annexes. The most pressing problem in that time was oil discharging, because we had a lot of oil disasters, polluting coasts in France, in Alaska, I remember the Exxon Valdez, other big oil disasters. So oil, the first annex of MARPOL was considered most important at that time. And gradually the other ones came. So we had one on oil and oily substances. That was the first one. 2 and 3 on hazardous and noxious substances that were also just thrown overboard. Sewage was just mentioned. Same thing. Garbage took somewhat later. And then it's really surprising that the emission of greenhouse gases and other, by the way, also sulfur, so any emission coming from vessels, took so long to get adopted in IMO, to get regulated by IMO. It was only in 2005 that Annex 6 was established. And I remember at the time that even there was a discussion whether we should have a separate Annex 6 for emissions coming from ships. Luckily, we managed to convene that. So this year, June, was a very important moment for IMO when it comes to emissions. The MEPC 80 in June decided to adopt this strategy on the reduction of greenhouse gases and the decarbonization of shipping in general. That was a landmark decision, I think, or a landmark agreement, because when I came to the IMO, and actually we just realized we must have met Captain Modigny in MEPC at that time. There was a lot of opposition against any regulation of emissions coming from ships, especially greenhouse gases. And of course, you all know the discussion about greenhouse gases all over the world. The rich countries were most polluting, they should pay, they should start, and so on and so on. So there was a bit of a deadlock in the beginning of the years 2000. And luckily, we have overcome that. We've overcome that in the sense that each country is taking its responsibility in the greenhouse gases emissions. So this is what this strategy is a result of, to this coming together of nations worldwide. Coming to the question that put me, how is the Netherlands dealing with all this? The Netherlands, we are a small nation. We are dependent on international trade. We have a long coastline, relatively long coastline. Let's say not the 7,500 kilometers that you have in India. We have 350 kilometers coastline. But it's also because we shortened the coastline, by the way, with all kinds of damming, estuaries, and so on. So we would have had up to 1,000, I think, altogether. But still, that's really nothing. No, so we're very much dependent on international trade, on international shipping, but also dependent on the sea, because we have this relatively long coastline. We got the pollution on our beaches. We were dependent on fisheries in that sea. So we had from old an awareness that we were dependent on the sea. And that is why we were one of the first countries to really actively participate in IMO. And that's what we're still doing. Each and every committee, you'll find a Dutch representation. We also make sure that we're part of the IMO Council whenever that's selected. Make sure is one thing, but you also need to live up to that. And that is basically, I think, why we're elected all the time. Of course, it's a democratic body. We are elected, but in the course of elections, or let's say in the course of the regular work of IMO, we live up to our, let's say, our moral obligation to work for it. And that is also recognized by the other member states. And that's why we play this important role in IMO. We also see that for ourselves, the IMO regulations have a very big benefit. The benefit, for instance, is taking that example again of oily discharges at sea. When I was young, and even when I took my children to the beach in the years 2000, maybe 1995, when we would go to the beach and you'd come from the beach, you'd also check the other side of your feet, the soles of your feet, whether there would be any oily things sticking to your feet, because Once you get it at home, it would roll on your carpets. So there was just a regular thing to do. You came home, checked your feet, nothing, or if it was there, it was difficult to get off. That is no longer the case. That is no longer the case. You can go to the beach. It never happens again, at least not in the North Sea. So that is a matter of A, regulation, and B, enforcement. And that is also what we do in the West or in the Netherlands. We do that. I'm talking about the Netherlands, but of course, we're part of the European Union. We have all these IMO regulations implemented in EU legislation. So that's what we do. We take the legislation or the IMO regulations, we put it into legislation, EU legislation, sometimes national legislation, and then we enforce. And this is what makes IMO work in practice. So it's a matter of implementing the regulations and national legislation and enforcing. And we've been very successful in that, in the sense that we reap the benefits of that still every day. Now, the event today was sort of remembrance or to commemorate 50 years of MARPOL, but it's also here to to act as a roadshow for the Global Maritime India Summit. India is preparing for this third summit, and I think in a very big way. And that is not surprisingly, because India is experiencing the highest growth rate in the world of the big economies at the moment. 7% per year, and the World Bank predicts that's another 7% per year for the coming decade. That puts a lot of stress on your infrastructure, because the golden rule is that 1% of economic growth makes that you have 1.5% of growth in transport. And your transport infrastructure needs to live up to that. So that puts a lot of stress on all the ministries in Delhi working on transport infrastructure, but especially also on the ports and shipping ministry. Luckily, the government of India recognized that need for the maritime infrastructure to expand. And they've been working on the Sagamala program already. They've been working on of that later vision down in the Maritime Vision 2030. A lot of projects, over 150 projects, I understand, are being announced there and are being developed. And of course, there's the Global Maritime India Summit for the third time this year. Of course, the Netherlands is a small nation only. We only have 18 million people, which is less than the population of Mumbai. But still, we are a very strong maritime nation. As I said before, we have this strategic position in Europe at the mouth of the River Rhine. We are connecting the European heartland, industrial heartland in Germany and France and Switzerland to the rest of the world. And at the mouth of the River Rhine, this is where the Port of Rotterdam grew. Port of Rotterdam, for long, the largest port in the world, not any longer because a lot of Chinese ports took over, but still by far the largest port in Europe. And around that port, port industrial cluster grew. A cluster not only having shipping and port industries, but also dredging sector, a very important dredging sector. We have an inland waterway sector, which is plying all this ocean-going freight up and down the River Rhine and other canals in the rest of Europe. A lot of shipbuilding grew in the Netherlands. We don't do the large bulker tankers or container vessels anymore. That all went to Asia. But we still have niche markets in shipbuilding, reefers, chemical tankers, those kinds of niche markets are still markets that in the Dutch shipbuilders excel in. And then last but not least, we have research institutes of world fame. Maritime is one of them, maybe known or not so known to you. All these representatives of all these segments of the maritime cluster are coming to India at the Global Maritime India Summit. This whole cluster is ready to cooperate with India, and I think that Deputy Director General Ash just made the call for all of you to register for the GMIS. The Netherlands cluster has registered. We will be there, and we are ready to engage with India on this journey. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. We're very fortunate to have with us Mr. R. Lakshmanan, IAS, Joint Secretary, Inland Waterways, Transport, Administration and Coordination, Ministry of Ports, Shipping and Waterways. I request CMD SCI to please felicitate him with a bouquet and a memento. Mr. Lakshmanan is playing a very important role in the overall coordination of GMIS 2023. I invite him to share his thoughts with the audience on this occasion. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Mr. Lakshmanan.
Thank you. So, Mr. John, the Consul General from Kingdom of Netherlands, Mr. Shyam Jagannathan, Director General of Shipping, Mr. B.K. Tyagi, CMD Shipping Corporation of India, and all the participants who are here and who have joined us virtually. I think it's a pleasure to be part of this celebrations. It was not scheduled, but I was here in Bombay, and I think CMD invited, and it's a good occasion to be part of. So at the outset, my warm greetings on the occasion of the World Maritime Day to everyone, the seafarers and the maritime community, on behalf of the Ministry of Port, Shipping and Waterways, Government of India. And I think rightly IMO has designated MARPOL, the commitment goes on, as the theme for this year's celebration. So I think with climate change and energy transition, this becomes a critical aspect where all of us together have to work towards reducing the carbon footprint. And on that front, India is one of the front runners globally in terms of leading the energy transition and reducing the greenhouse gas emissions. There are multiple initiatives. One to quote from the Honorable Prime Minister, the Panchamrit, the 5 green-related commitments where India has committed on its own the nationally determined commitments towards reducing the greenhouse gases on different fronts. And there is a lot of activities around that. One is the National Green Hydrogen Mission, and similarly the National Biofuels Mission. And within our sector, for example, the recently announced Harit Sagar, the Green Port Policy, so which aims at greening of our ports with a timeline of 2030. And similarly on the shipping side as well, there are a lot of initiatives which are moving towards the adoption of alternate fuels and the greener fuels. For example, like we are manufacturing the first hydrogen fuel cell vessel, which is likely to be deployed in River Ganges, maybe like by end of this year, December or so. And similarly, like the Kochi Water Metro, that's again, I know, example which the world is keenly looking at. It's a urban, electric water transport system, which is seamlessly integrated into the other urban transport systems, which is, keenly looked at by all of them. We had the opportunity of looking at it, and these vessels are made in India. CSL has manufactured them. And from the ministry, we are keenly looking at it, how we can scale this up to other urban cities in the country, because like there are a lot of other ferries and urban transport vessels that are operating, but currently like they are old, they are on the fossil fuels. So there's an opportunity for us to transition and take the lead in this aspect. So these are some examples on what is happening across the country on this space. And otherwise, like overall in the maritime space, I think in the last 10 years, if we look at India has tremendously improved. To quote the World Bank report on the Logistics Performance Index. So in the last 10 years, India has improved almost like 20 places. Currently, we are placed 38 in the globe, but in the last 10 years, we have improved by 20 places in terms of the rank. And similarly, in the top 40 ports, couple of Indian ports figure in that, JNPA and Mundra. On the seafarers, I think we are in the top 5 in the globe in terms of what we are contributing to the maritime community. So on the list goes on. In the ship recycling, we are placed 2nd globally. So I think it's a time for us to work towards how do we, reduce the footprint of all of these operations in terms of the carbon emissions. And opportunity, the Global Maritime India Summit. This is the third edition, which is coming up in next 3 weeks time. It's on 17th, 18th, and 19th, slated to happen in Mumbai, the maritime capital of India. And we are receiving a very warm response for participation from across the globe for this edition. And we are looking at this edition is like structured in a way like where we have a lot of the themes which are structured around the port modernization, greening, and in terms of green shipping. Then we have the inland water transport and coastal shipping. And the international cooperation is again another key theme around which we are trying to build. Then the innovation, research, the digitization piece. So all of this is finding a space in terms of various conferences that are happening. And we also have international sessions where we have the regional maritime cooperation related sessions, similarly Asia Pacific sessions, and European roundtable, and also the economic corridors, the INSTC corridor, or the very recently announced IMEC corridor. So there are different roundtables on these as well. And we are having many of these countries which are involved in these initiatives, either at the ministerial level or at the official level or at the industry level, who are taking part in these various aspects. And we also have a significant exhibition space in which the Indian industry is participating, as well as the global industry in the maritime space and the related areas are participating. So this is the occasion where I think we have a large section of maritime stakeholders present. So it's a right opportunity where again it's important to reiterate that each one of you, we would request that you participate in various forms, either as a delegate or as a exhibition participant or as a visitor. So there is a lot of it's a very big platform where all of us can learn from each other and work towards collaboration. The session, the platform theme is create, collaborate, and create. So I think it's a right platform for all of us to get together and work towards the larger goals. So once again, I'm happy to be part of this day here. Once again, wish you all a World Maritime Day greetings on that occasion. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for joining us today. We have Mr. Shyam Jagannathan, Director General of Shipping and Chairman NMDC Central Committee, who is known as a dynamic leader. He's known for his intelligent foresightedness, focused approach, and a highly motivated administrator. I invite him to express his thoughts on this special day.
Namaskar. Mr. Ba de Jong, Honorable Consul General for the Kingdom of Netherlands. Sri Lakshmanji, Joint Secretary, Ministry of Ports, Shipping and Waterways. Captain B.K. Tyagiji, Chairman and Managing Director, Shipping Corporation of India. Our eminent panelists today, guests present here and also online, seafarers, trainees, and faculty. It's a privilege to be provided an opportunity to be part of the celebrations of the World Maritime Day here today at the Shipping Corporation of India, organized under the aegis of the National Maritime Day Celebrations Committee. As we commemorate the World Maritime Day 2023 with the theme of MARPOL at 50, our commitment goes on. I hope that this platform brings together all stakeholders in unison to discuss and deliberate and put into action the latest trends, challenges, and opportunities in the ports and shipping sector. We are also observing the third roadshow for the Global Maritime India Summit 2023. It's a global platform which we are looking forward for truly global participation from diverse stakeholders, shipping companies, ports, security-related domain experts, technology innovators, solution providers, maritime training institutes, all coming together to connect, collaborate, and create. And we are fortunate that the Global Maritime India Summit 2023 venue is the maritime capital, our own maximum city, Mumbai. We, from the administration, are very keen for everyone's participation and contribution towards a vibrant maritime future. We've had a very seminal and illuminating panel discussion with contributions from Shri Vijay Arora ji, the Managing Director of IRS, Dr. Rajneesh Kumar ji, Professor from IIT Madras. His presence has certainly elaborated the deliberations. He himself is a Shanti Swarup Bhatnagar Prize awardee. Captain Tushar Pradhan ji, 40 years of experience and insight. And Shri Mudit Mehrotra ji, who is also a member of the Shadow Committee and has been contributing richly in the MEPC forum. I will basically be using a few slides, largely for the benefit of our online guests. The World Maritime Day highlights the importance of maritime safety, security, and the marine environment. And it is celebrated on the last Thursday in September, which globally was commemorated on the 28th. Maritime is derived from the Latin word maritimus, meaning of the sea. And this day is a celebration of the vital role that every maritime.
ये ऑफिस में कुछ फाइल्स भेजा है क्या? बट वो खोलता नहीं है, आधे लॉक हो गया बोलते हैं, ये मालूम नहीं है, आई डोंट नो, रॉन्ग पास.
Tonnage. Our oceans are our lifeline. It provides us more than 50% of the air we breathe. It helps in climate regulation, is the basis for global transportation, and the center stage of the global economy. We have abused the nations, essentially our own lifeline. Eutrophication, plastic debris, toxins, land runoff, atmospheric and ship pollution all have deleterious effects. 1 in 20 adults will become ill on a single exposure to contaminated water. 1 lakh marine creatures die from physical plastic entanglement. 55% of the fish that is consumed has ingested plastics. Now, the Marpol Convention addresses pollution from ships by oil, by noxious liquid substances carried in bulk, harmful substances carried by sea in packaged form, sewage, garbage, and the prevention of air pollution from ships. It is largely for the benefit of the trainee cadets that I am going to basically go forward with the rest of the slides, which are available on a very rich repository of the International Maritime Organization. Double hull was mentioned by Captain Tyagi. It enhances the mandate of having a double hull, creating a protective space, essentially preempting any accident. Next slide, please. These are all MARPOL mandates. Every ship of 400 gross tonnage and above needs to be provided with a tank to receive oil residues, sludge. The graphic shows very clearly MARPOL has visible results. The number of oil spills has declined significantly. Honorable Councillor Sir was mentioning about checking one's shoes, and the remarkable reduction in the North Seas is largely attributable to this international environmental treaty, which is very progressive looking. MARPOL specifies standards for preventing pollution by potentially harmful liquids. I may digress here. Confined spaces on vessels. We are presently handling a very unfortunate incident where two seafarers, both Indians, entered basically a tank for cleaning. And because they weren't having a rebreather and all, both succumbed in that confined space. Conventions such as these and stipulations ensure safety for the seafarer, because all of the young boys there tomorrow are going to basically command your vessels, and you would have to look out. Safety is always first, and international conventions such as this not only help conserve the environment, prevent the pollution, but also ensure safety. Disposal of sewage at sea when the ship is within 3 nautical miles from the shore are within special areas which has been specified by the IMO. The Annex 5 prohibits ships from discharging garbage into the sea. I mentioned in my initial slides about the amount of plastics in the ocean. We in 2019 prohibited carriage and use of items made of single-use plastics on Indian ships. And the prohibition and usage was imposed on foreign ships when in Indian waters. MARPOL requires provision of adequate port reception facilities for waste generated during port visit of vessels. This was mentioned during the panel discussions. MARPOL Annex 6, regulations on carbon intensity, promoting energy efficient ship design on operations, and the move, as was mentioned, to clean fuels and technologies. The IMO 2020 sulfur limit was touched upon, and this is going to change the engineering and design of engines and vessels as we go forward in shipping. MARPOL Annex 6 limits air pollution from ships. SOx and NOx were touched upon. Most vessels are required to carry the emergency pollution plans in case of an incident. Annex 6 is all about fuels and the relevant standards that need to be met. The Polar Code has been made mandatory, and this is for additional protection for ships operating in polar waters. I'll now come back to our national action plan to promote green shipping, which has policy interventions, promotion of infrastructure for green shipping, and technology solutions for green shipping. This is what had been spoken about as the IMO's revised greenhouse gas reduction strategy on the 7th of July, 2023, which looks at the reduction of carbon dioxide emission per transport work by at least 40% when compared to the baseline of 2008. From DG Shipping, we host the Swachh Sagar portal. It's a sustainable shipping portal that allows the e-bunker note, captures fuel consumption and operational data, captures single-use plastic on Indian ships, ballast water management, and e-facilities for the port reception facilities. This platform is the way forward. Next slide, please. I've just listed out very broadly the decarbonization policy initiatives, the Maritime Vision 2030, the National Hydrogen Policy, biofuels, age norms, and implementation of Chapter 4 of MARPOL Annex 6. I have briefly tried to list out the IMO Shipping's energy efficiency regulative framework, and most of the experts would have handled this, but I will just very briefly mention that from the 1st of January 2023, all existing ships must achieve a minimum energy efficiency existing ship design index, EEXI. And with effect from the 1st of January 2024, all ships of 5,000 gross tonnage and above must meet a minimum value of carbon intensity in the previous calendar year and get it verified and submitted to the IMO through the flag administration. I would end the presentation. I am very thankful to everybody for this very good opportunity, and I once again request and welcome you all to be part of this Global Maritime India Summit 2023. We look forward to your keen participation there. Thank you so much. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir, for such an elaborate and detailed speech. All good things come to an end, but we'd be failing in our duty if we did not acknowledge the efforts taken to make this seminar a grand success. So I'd now like to invite Deputy Director General of Shipping and Secretary NMDC Central Committee, Dr. Pandurang Raut, for the vote of thanks.
A very warm good evening to all. No doubt it was a very long session, but it was fruitful. The earth, the air, the land, and the water are not an inheritance from our forefathers, but it's a loan from our children. Our beloved father of nation, Mahatma Gandhi, said, I'm very honored and privileged to be here to present the vote of thanks on this hybrid celebration of World Maritime Day 2023 and third roadshow of Global Maritime India Summit 2023. Human element is kept in front and center of the technological and green transition to ensure a sustainable planet for future generation. This message of Honorable Mr. Kitek Lim, Secretary General, IMO, aptly summarizes the main aim of all our efforts toward implementation of MARPOL. My profound thanks go to Honorable Secretary General, IMO. I am grateful to Honorable Sri Sarbananda Sonowal ji, our Union Minister, Ministry of Ports, Shipping and Waterways, for his inspiring message for this important ceremony. Sir, thank you very much for your message for World Maritime Day and also your appeal for all of us in the maritime world to join the ensuing Global Maritime Summit 2023 from 17th to 19th October 2023 in Mumbai. Mr. Bart de Jong, Consul General of Kingdom of Netherlands, has taken time to join us from his very busy schedule, and he has given the whole idea of the MARPOL, the practices that is being followed in Netherlands, and the collaboration, the friendship between India and Netherlands. Thank you very much, sir, for your kind inputs. A very impressive, passionate officer who is dealing from the forefront for the successful preparation of GMIS 2023. Sir, we are honored here with your presence and the insightful speech that you have given to us, both congratulating us on World Maritime Day and appealing to join all of us for the GMIS 2023. Thank you very much, sir. Excellent and insightful knowledge and a booster dose of knowledge by giving the hands-on reality of MARPOL. Sri Jagannathanji, Shyam Jagannathanji, Director General of Shipping and Chairman of NMDC Central Committee. Sir, we are honored with the insightful knowledge, and we can say lecture for all of the students. All of us are like student only to listen the details of MARPOL from your side. Thank you very much, sir. And sir's desire to disseminate this particular presentation to the knowledge seekers will be addressed appropriately, sir. Thank you very much, sir. The zeal with which this program has started by the address of Captain B.K. Tyagi, sir, CMD SCI and Vice Chairman of NMDC Central Committee. Sir has, in last two roadshow also, he has shown very deep understanding and great enthusiasm for all of us to make us to join to the GMIS 2023. And thank you very much, sir, for providing all this arrangement also here on behalf of SCI. Thank you very much, sir. Vicky has provided the vision for coming GMIS 2023, and the details of the vision for GMIS has presented by my colleague, Sri Ash Mohammed Ji. Ash Mohammed Ji giving good insightful of the achievement of maritime in last 10 years and our future in again till 2030. Thank you very much, sir, for that. We are really fortunate to have the panelists, eminent panelists, led by Mr. Vijay Arora Ji, who is Managing Director of IRS, for chairing the whole panel, sir. And we are fortunate enough to have Dr. Rajnish Kumar, who is also awardee of Shanti Swarup Bhatnagar. I think under 40 years, his thesis about the carbon capture has made him eligible to get that award. Thank you very much for the details of carbon dioxide and its capturing that you have provided, the different options for the maritime industry, sir. Captain Tushar Pradhanji, General Secretary for Maritime Union of India, the man who has seen all the so-called laissez-faire state of MARPOL, and now it is like a most strictly implemented regulation. Thank you very much, sir, for your insightful ideas. Mr. Mudit Mehrotra, the Great Eastern Company, from Great Eastern Company Limited. Sir, thank you very much for your deep insightfulness, because he is also representing the meetings of IMO from India as a part of our joint delegation from India side in relation to MARPOL. Thank you very much, sir. Further, I thank the curious member from the audience, Today, due to shortage of time, we couldn't hold the question and answer session, but we have provided the details for lodging the question so that that can be addressed very properly. So I am immensely thankful to Sri Kumar Sanjay Bariarji, who is not here today due to some engagements, but thank you for his great guidance to the function. I am immensely and wholeheartedly express my gratitude towards officers from SCI, those who have provided all these details, not only auditorium, but technical support and also the refreshment also after the program. Thank you very much, sir. I cannot stop from giving specific gratitude towards other officers from NMDC, Sri Sanjay Arora ji, Mr. Rajiv Nayyar ji, then Captain MP Basin for excellently managing and planning this event. My sincere thanks goes to all the retired and serving officers of Government of India and those cadets who are, I think, standing here since afternoon and making this event as also more successful. Thank you very much. I am greatly thankful to the representative from Maritime Training Institutes, RPSL, MTOs, unions in the maritime field, particularly from India and abroad, for showing their gesture to join with us. Even today is a holiday in the state government, but you have come here, sir. Not only here, those who are attending this function physically, but we have seen that around 34 vessels which has joined online, and this program has reached up to the different corners of the world. So thank you very much, all of you, those who have joined online also. I should not forget to thank print and electronic media, those who are really supporting to us to disseminate these details of the program to non-maritime world also. Thank you very much, and I will be failing in my duties if I will forget the immense contribution and untiring efforts of all the members of NMDC Central Committee, who has since last 1 month who has planned continuously to make this event as more successful. So thank you very much. Thank you. Good night. One small announcement, refreshment facilities has been arranged by the SCI. So kindly proceed to have the refreshment. Thank you so much. Sorry, one more.
Yeah, thank you, Mohammed sir. Please stand for the national anthem.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे